Hi there, and welcome to You and Your Business with me, Alec Drew, on 103.2 Dublin City FM. Each week we have an expert from the world of business sharing their knowledge, insights and tips about how to help you reduce costs, increase profits and drive efficiencies. If there's a topic you'd like covered, or if you feel that you can make a contribution, please email me at yourbusiness@dublincityfm.ie and perhaps we'll be chatting here one day soon. Today's guest heads up a business that was named Top Social Media Influencer of 2017, named among 33 rising stars in social media for 2017, named among the top 100 digital marketeers for 2018, named as 50 top social media marketing influencers in 2018, and no less, and I'm just about to finish on this one, named as one of the top 37 social media influencers to follow in 2019. My goodness me, what a resume there. I'm delighted to welcome Sam Kelly, the tweeting goddess, to You and Your Business. Hi, Sam. Welcome.
Hello there. Delighted to be here.
I'm delighted to be able to get you. I know you're such a busy person these days, you know, but I'm delighted for you. I mean, you have so much to share with us and our listeners in terms of social media, because I think so many of us, well, I can only talk about myself. I'm certainly a Luddite when it comes to it. But take me back. How on earth did you get involved in social media, particularly Twitter, of all things?
Well, a long time ago, about 7 years ago, I had an idea that I wanted to start, a business I wanted to start, and I didn't know how I was going to promote it. I'd never gone to college, I had no experience. I had good experience with customer service and sales, but I didn't know anything about business, to be honest, and I just started promoting my business. And my sister, who did my website for Funky Goddess, it was called, she said, "Oh, I've just put you on Twitter as well." And I'm like, "Well, what's Twitter?" I had no idea what she was talking about, and she was like, "Oh, you just, go and have a look." And so I went and had a look, and then I started playing around with it, and I realised, hang on a second, I can reach a global audience with this platform. And I realised that I had a bit of a knack for it, and I just started talking to people, because when the kids were in bed, I was a lone parent at the time, I was a bit lonely myself, and I went online, after 9 o'clock, and just started talking about my business and finding other people, other like-minded people that I might be interested in talking to as well. And it kind of went from there.
It's amazing how, there you go, there's a challenge. A lone parent trying to find a business, how to start up a business, finds social media outlet that sort of starts snowballing.
Yeah, literally, yes, it does. And it was just something I suppose I fell into by accident, but when you think about it, it wasn't really accident, because I was working, I wasn't just chatting, I was talking about my business, and I was trying to build relationships. I didn't realise that I was building relationships. I didn't realise what I was doing, I suppose. I was a bit naive, but I just knew that when someone tweeted to me and someone who had a lot of followers retweeted me or something, like that means shared my content, I felt good. And I went, oh, that made me feel really good when that person did that. That means more people have seen my product today than saw it yesterday. And I started seeing the value of it, and I started seeing what could happen through it.
It's amazing, because I think a lot of people tend to think of, let me get out there and sell stuff to people. But that's not relationship building, know. But you found a way of getting your message out there in a way that was maybe non-threatening, non-invasive, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I started telling stories, and everyone knows a good story is how you get your people on board, and people buy from people. I'm always saying it, and we were talking about this earlier. People buy from people, and I know that stories. I remember, I'll give you an example. There was a gentleman, a friend of mine, he's a poet, and his wife died when the children were young, and he had 3 teenage girls, preteen girls and teenage girls. And so he was left, the product I was selling was for teenage girls. It was a first period gift box. So I asked him, would he actually share his experience and write a little guest blog for me? So he did. He wrote a guest blog for me. Next thing, Morning Ireland were on the phone. They wanted to interview him on the radio about this, because also periods were a big taboo as well. So it was a good story. And so I realised, from the power of me tweeting out that blog post, Kevin got exposure on the radio. He had a book of poetry coming out. I got exposure for my business, and also Morning Ireland got some content. So
everybody's a winner.
Yeah.
Everybody's a winner.
So that was when I noticed the power of it, yeah.
And when you started bringing it into a commercial sense, who was your first sort of client that you sort of thought, How could they benefit from this, and how did that work out for you?
Well, as I went on and my followers started to grow and I started building my network around me and my community around me, Funky Goddess was... I had to shelve it, and as it happened, someone bought it off me. So I was thinking, well, what could I do next? So a customer actually bought it off me. So what could I do next? And I said, I had a meeting with a hotel approached me, Whites of Wexford at the time. They're Clayton now, and Jane's approached me, and we had a chat. And she said, look, how do you do that Twitter thing? We don't get it at all. We're not getting any traffic from it. Like, you seem to really know what you're doing. And I was like, someone thinks I'm an expert in Twitter, like. And I didn't even think of it myself. And so I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And so their clicks to sale went up 15%. And head office rang them and asked them, how on earth did you get your clicks to sale up 15%? And they said, well, we just hired Samantha. So that's where it started. And that's when I realised I had something that businesses needed, which was a service and also the knowledge that they didn't actually understand. A lot of people don't understand. They kind of understand Facebook and maybe LinkedIn. Actually, a lot of them still don't understand LinkedIn. But, you know, a lot of them didn't realise how Twitter works. It's not an advertising platform. It's actually about people and how you make those people feel. So how do you make that person feel? So what I did with the hotel account was I went back to their notifications and chatted to the people who had already been there before. So I started chatting to Mary in Tipperary, who'd been with us a few months beforehand, asked her how she was, how are you getting on? And Mary was like, oh my God, the hotel just said hello to me. Do you know what I mean? So it really made her day. And next thing, she booked a mini break. She said, I haven't been down there in ages. Actually, I must go down again.
Wow, yeah.
Staying top of mind.
Yeah, staying at top. I'm going to pry a bit. I have to ask this question. Funky Goddess, where did you get that from originally? And then you go and sell it, which is fantastic because you've decided you don't need it anymore.
Well, what happened was... I just wanted the name. My father passed away. It's a big part of my story. My father passed away about 8 years ago, and I remember, you know, I think he sent it to me, to be honest, right? So it was like, I just wanted something that the teens would identify with, which was funky, and then Goddess is a strong, powerful woman. So that's just where the name came from. So I kind of took it from the sky or from my dad or whatever, and that's where the name came from. And Funky Goddess was I was on Dragon's Den with that, and you know, it was hugely popular, but it was controversial because it was a controversial topic. So I learned a lot from that business because I learned about, you know, minimum order quantities. I learned about, you know, when you supply to a pharmacy, for example, you don't get a lot of money back in the end of it. You know, like I learned a lot. I learned about how to do a sale, how to negotiate, and how to market the business is hugely important. And I realized that if I created a network around me of like-minded people, so there was doctors, there was nurses, there was people, lone fathers, lots of lone fathers. They loved Funky Goddess. It was perfect for them. So, and separated parents and stuff, like she might go to dad's for the weekend, and then you know, so I was thinking a lot. I worked really hard on it, but I was exhausted and I wasn't making any money. So that's why I needed to, you know, I had to think like a business person. So I learned a lot from it, and it was hard. It was really tough, but all that experience I have now, I can pass on to someone else, and that's really important. I would love to save someone else the stresses that I went through. I'd love to save someone else that you know, the disappointments, the roller coaster. I know all about this stuff. So I decided through Twitter, I started surrounding myself with people who I wanted to hang out with. There are lots of people who couldn't stand me, who hated me, who were like, thought I was an idiot, thought I was trying to be Oprah, you know. And you know what? I just blocked them because I don't care. That's none of my business what they think. So I learned about that as well, and that's life as well. So I learned as I went about a lot of stuff, not just about business.
It's amazing, actually. You can tie three things in there very quickly. The one thing about Irish entrepreneurs is agility, sustainability, and then don't forget the begrudgers, who always seem to be sitting in the background there. So
they're just waiting.
They're always waiting for you. And by the way, if you're just joining us now, you're listening to me, Alec Drew, on 103.2 Dublin City FM, where my studio guest is Sam Kelly, the Tweeting Goddess, tweetinggoddess.com. And there's another website, which is womensinspirenetwork.com, which we'll talk about in just a minute. You said you were on Dragon's Den. How was that as an experience?
That was wonderful, I have to say. Myself and Gavin Duffy, our Aunt Nora and Bobby, I mean, we're all like, you know, we always give each other a hug when we see each other and all. That was, I went up there, I had €5 in my pocket. Like, you know, I suppose the people that go to that show, like, they've actually really, some of them borrowed money to get there. You know,
Right.
that's the stage they're at, and this is their big break. But you know what? It's a TV show as well, and you know, it was exciting getting the makeup done and all. And when I was getting my makeup done, a butterfly landed on the makeup girl's light, and myself and Dad used to watch Dragon's Den. So when it's on YouTube if you want to watch it. When I went up to the Dragon's Den, of course, I burst into tears, and Nora Casey said, "You've had a tough year, haven't you?" And I burst into tears because I was thinking of Dad, you know.
Yes, of course.
So but that didn't mean no harm at all on the TV, because people watching,
They saw your
they all
vulnerability and-
identified with losing someone, and they all, yeah, it showed me as a human. And I am a human. Look, every business person is a human. And that's another thing I talk about a lot is, you know, when I'm doing events and stuff, I always make sure there's always one person in the room who's had a crappy time to actually get there.
Yes.
Either there's a fight going out the door, or a puncture, or the petrol gauge is on E, or this could be their last chance to make things work. You just don't know what someone's going through. And so I suppose I'm very able to tap into that, and I like to give that person attention. So usually what I do is I pick someone from the audience
Yes.
that says they're on their own, and then I make them stand up and I bring the mic down, and they're like, I didn't know you were going to do that. And then everybody knows them in the room.
Yeah,
straight
and that's
away.
nice. It's nice, and you know, and it's about connecting with people. You know,
yeah.
I mean, I'm forever hearing words like authentic, and you know, people being real and that.
Yeah.
But so many companies seem to have lost that sort of personality. It seems to be too corporate.
Yeah.
You must be facing that challenge on a regular basis.
Do you know, they're not my target customer though, because they don't understand. They don't get what I'm trying to do, and they dismiss what I'm doing really as well, a lot of them. But they're not my target customer. So it's important to think about, okay, who is my ideal client? Who is the client that's going to understand what I'm doing and what I can do for them? So there are a lot of people, especially in the bigger businesses, don't understand social media. They think it's just an advertising platform. They say, oh, can you just make that go viral? You cannot just make something go viral. It takes planning. It takes learning about your customer. What does your customer want? And a lot of them forget to actually talk and engage with their customers. You might see like a Twitter account with like thousands of followers, and then like they're following 10 people. Like I wouldn't follow that person, because that to me says they're not engaging with their followers. They don't care about them enough to follow them back. And when you follow someone back, like sometimes the person with 50 followers can be the most rewarding relationship you'll have. You just don't know who their uncle is, or who their father is, or whatever. You just don't know who this person is and who they know and how they can help you. Maybe they're more powerful than you are to them, you know. So it's about gathering the right people around you, but also finding the right customer and making sure that you're looking after them, and the customers you already have as well, nurturing them. You know?
Yeah, because I think I think you've just identified something there in terms of there is a perception that this is some sort of advertising platform.
Yeah.
And I understand like people talking about viral because they see some video of something. It's a bit like I can't remember, the cold bucket of water over the head sort of thing went viral.
The bucket challenge,
The
yeah.
bucket
Ice
challenge.
Bucket challenge, yeah.
Did you do that?
I didn't.
No, I didn't
Just out
either.
of protest, I didn't. Because I was like, I'm not a sheep. I like to lead, not follow the crowd, as you probably
Anyway,
guessed.
this country's too cold for that. You
Yeah,
mentioned
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
that.
that's the reason.
But I think people sometimes fail to understand the power of something like Twitter. You mentioned to me before about a dance shop. And tell me a bit about this dance shop and where it is and what sort of size it is and what then happened.
Well, I met Jane from Studio Danceware at a networking event, a Feed Alpha networking event in Carlow, and she joined the network, the Women's Inspire Network. So she was barely on Twitter, and I was like, oh, you must tweet, because there's a lot of people in the dance and a lot of mums and fathers whose kids go dancing and all that. And so she managed to start tweeting, and I started encouraging her to do live Twitter lives and stuff, and she was tweeting with Dancing with the Stars, and now she supplies the dance shoes to Dancing with the Stars, to the people who are dancing on Dancing with the Stars, and that's from Twitter, and that's from building relationship and engaging with them. So
And it's amazing that people always want to be associated with something, particularly in the media, like television and that. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure it hasn't done her business any harm at all.
Oh, she's had loads of media attention since that. So that's another thing as well. Stories. There's the story again. And stories, people want to hear the story. They want to see behind the scenes. They want to see what's going on. Like, I can never understand when I have clients and I say, look, I'd love to get a picture of the girls in reception. I'd love to get a picture of the girls or the guys in the background. And like, oh, no, don't take my picture. And I just don't understand it, because this is a chance for them to get more business and be more secure in their jobs if they let me take their picture. But, you know, it's like pictures, and people love to see behind the scenes. I have one client, Eden Manor Bridal. She did unpacking the boxes of the new bridal gowns.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and so well. And it was just her reactions. Everyone could see she was genuinely going, oh my God, look at this dress. And it was just the excitement. It's just brilliant. It's a classic if anyone wants to watch it. It's on Instagram. But, you know, it was just the thrill that the owner, Hilda, had. And everyone just loved watching her, and her enthusiasm and her passion for the dresses would be enough to make you go and want to try on the dresses, you know.
You're nearly tempting me to go and try one myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Those stories.
Yeah, but I can certainly hear when you're talking, you know, the infectious way you tell these stories, and it's great to see people who are genuine, able to convey a story that resonates with us all as people, you know, in the world. And I think we miss too much of that.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about Women's Inspire Network. What was that about, and how did you get involved in that, or how did you set that up? I mean, how did that?
Well, I set it up. Anytime I was speaking at events, or anytime I was, doing a talk, it was always women that came up at the end. And anytime I had an event, I had a different network. It was always women who bought the tickets. So I said, there's something here now. It seems to be women that seem to like me, you know. So, and so I said, well, why don't I set up? And I also noticed there was no hashtag on Twitter, no kind of Twitter chat just for women. And so I said, well, there's a lot of mommy chats, but there was none for business women. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to start one for women in business, and especially the female entrepreneur that was lonely like me, sitting at home.
Yes, of course.
And I knew that there was other people like me, that I wasn't the only one building my empire from home, because online is so strong now, and it's only relatively new, like online. So there are a lot of people who have an online shop, and they don't see someone for days, and they're sitting online and they're doing orders and stuff. So I said, I want to reach those women. I want to reach the woman in Donegal who has built her beautiful business selling to America online. I want to reach that lady, you know. So I started wanting to reach these women, and I knew I could because once they had Wi-Fi, of course, I knew I could once we were online. So I just decided to create Women's Inspire Network. I had like over 8,000 people on the Facebook group, and we had a Twitter chat, which is really successful. That's every Tuesday night, 10 to 11 p.m. So if you want to join in, feel free, and men can join in too. But I just was overwhelmed, and I was being pulled from pillar to post, and I said, right, I have to do something clever with this. So I decided if I add value, people won't mind paying $20 a month. So what I do is I do weekly webinars on every topic, from how to do a business plan to how to use Instagram stories, how to use LinkedIn properly, like every topic. Like, some people have started businesses and they don't know how to attach a document to an email. Some people have started businesses and they don't know how to do a business plan, and how to simple things that we might take for granted now, but you know, how to have a contract, terms and conditions, stuff like that. That we don't learn all this stuff, and we certainly don't learn. Social media is changing all the time, and we need to keep up with the trends. Like, video is really powerful now, for example, so we need to start using video more. And it doesn't have to be professional in a big studio and all. It can be just on your phone. You have this phone is magic. Use it. Take a picture. But yeah, that's what. So Women's Inspire Network, I just wanted to reach those women, and then also I decided I couldn't do it for free, so I charged $20 a month. And once you give value, people will pay $20 a month. Like, it's that's two cups of coffee a day, or a cup of coffee a day, even, not even. But you know, it's like, and it's global as well because it's online. So I have members from America, New Zealand, Canada, Spain. So this is a global network. It's not just Ireland. So it's wonderful. Yeah,
and it's great, and it's operated out of your home in...
Yes, in Whistler Harbour. Yeah, I know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Where else would you operate it from?
Yeah.
I just think sort of 8,000 people on a Twitter chat, and you said a Tuesday.
8,000 people on the Facebook group.
On the Facebook group. And it's
the Twitter chat is on a Tuesday night. Women's Inspire is the hashtag from 10 till 11 p.m. And we feature a member every week. So we had a member last night talking about websites, how to get more visitors to your website. So we feature an expert every week as well. So people are getting value. It's not just a chat.
It's peer-to-peer grouping. And I think you identified something. I mean, you're talking about charging a nominal amount for people to get involved, which makes sense because more and more people are looking for things for nothing and then don't respect it.
Exactly. That's what I found with the free group. So I just made the decision, but people will value and they'll use it, and like they have a chance as well. They get mentoring as well. They get a chance for more PR. I'm often asked, do I know someone who works in the family business or works with their husband, or do I know someone who has a child with a disability, or it could be anything like that, and I would know straight away who that member is, or do you know any members that work in the mindfulness space? And so I can actually refer those members, and then they get exposure. They get PR.
So really what you've done is put yourself fairly much in the centre of a circle of influence around people and then start connecting the dots for people.
I love connecting the dots. I love it.
It's fantastic. Yeah. A quick question, how much time should somebody, if they decide to get involved in, say, something like Twitter, how much time should they be investing, say, in a week? I don't mean as a chore, but, to be able to do it properly.
Okay, well, first of all, you have to figure out, are your audience there? Are your customers there? So, there's no point in you putting time into something you're going to hate and you're going to feel as a chore as well. So you need to find out, are your audience there? Have you got value to give? Are Twitter going to like you? So you have to kind of figure out if it's the right place for you, because there are different platforms. It is a great B2B platform. So LinkedIn and Twitter would be, I would be in the same kind of category as far as I'm concerned, because Twitter's just a bit more laid back, and Twitter, you might not necessarily see what the person, like I know someone who's a very powerful person on Twitter and knows a load of people, but it doesn't say that person talks about poetry. It doesn't say that that's what they do and their position they are.
Yeah, so they kind of hide it. If you're just joining us, you're listening to me, Alec Drew, on 103.2 Dublin City FM, where my studio guest is Sam Kelly, the tweeting goddess, sharing her knowledge on the important subject of social media, Twitter. And if you want to connect with Sam, she's tweetinggoddess.com or womensinspirenetwork.com. And your Twitter handle is?
At Tweeting Goddess.
At Tweeting Goddess, great. And we were just talking about B2B. I don't think a lot of people tend to think of Twitter as B2B.
Yes, absolutely. Because think about when I started, don't forget, it was in the evening time. I was a small business owner. Between 9 and 11 p.m. is the busiest time on Twitter. So you were asking me about how much time to spend on Twitter. Spend the amount of time on Twitter. I would say find the busy time on Twitter, which is between 9 and 11 p.m. Okay, that's when most business owners, most small business owners are on Twitter, and most people think about it. The kids have gone to bed, they're scrolling through their phones, and think about when you're on Twitter or when you're on social media, when the Late Late Show is on or something. So what I would do is I would make a plan to be on it at the busy times, the times when you're going to get the most engagement, but also what are you going to bring to Twitter? Are you going to bring value to Twitter? I'm a verified Twitter account user, which means that Twitter decided that I add value, that I bring value to the Twitter community. So, that was a really happy day when I got that. Taxi driver didn't know what was going on with me when I saw that. But anyway, it's about thinking about, okay, I would definitely do half an hour a day if you can. Half an hour a day if you can, and that would be engaging, you don't just throw out tweets. You can schedule tweets, but always check your phone and check for notifications, because that's the important thing. You could get asked a question. I've often put out a tweet, where's a nice hotel to stay in Galway? And, and that person could lose a sale because it took them 6 hours to respond to that. I want response now. Most people on Twitter expect a response. And actually, the latest research shows that people would rather, instead of ringing a hotel or ringing a company, they prefer to message them on Facebook or Twitter now instead of ringing, because I don't want to listen to green sleeves while I'm trying to run an empire. I don't want to be on hold, and I want to contact someone now, and I want them to talk to me now.
Well, I suppose that's fair. In terms of tips for people using Twitter, have you a couple you'd like to share with us?
I've loads. Okay.
Well, we've got a couple of minutes left. So.
Okay, the main tip is, first of all, make sure you're in the right place. Like, make sure that's where your audience are. If your audience are aged between 16 and 35, maybe you need to be looking at Snapchat or Instagram. If your business is visual, Instagram is great. Pinterest is a great search engine, by the way, as well. But definitely Twitter, B2B, if you want to get in front of women in business, small business owners, influencers, journalists, that decision makers. There's a lot of decision makers on Twitter as well. So first of all, decide if you need to be there, and then I would definitely make sure it's easy to contact you. So fill in your bio, put a great picture up, put a nice headshot, go and invest in a headshot. Look good. Look, if you want people to click follow, the more followers you have, the more allies you have that will actually retweet and share your content. Add value. So think about, if you're going to be on Twitter, what are you bringing to the table? Think about, what am I going to bring? It's like when you go into an event and you're dreading an event. Why don't you just think, what could you bring to the event instead? And definitely don't use auto direct messages, and don't link your Twitter to your Facebook, because they're two totally different audiences. And always follow back if you can, if they look normal. It's always nice to follow someone back. It's good etiquette, and always thank people when they follow you.
Yeah, wow, you've packed in a lot there. And people tend to forget, though, that the number of followers you have, which you've quite a substantial number. How many have you got at this stage now?
48,000.
My goodness me, 48,000. Yeah. But that's not the reach. The reach is something completely different.
The reach would be totally different. For example, when my husband proposed to me in New York last year, I put up the tweet, and that reached over 1 million timelines because of the people that retweeted it and engaged with it, and so on. So my reach is much bigger. And actually, Twitter Analytics is a hugely useful tool. If you're on Twitter, go into your laptop, click on settings, go into analytics, and you will see which tweet you did this month was the most popular. So you can get all that measurements for free.
In terms of sort of the business world out there, who would you think would be the most successful user of Twitter if you were to kind of look at somebody?
Well, Gavin Duffy is quite good on Twitter. People on Twitter in the business world, you mean internationally?
Like a corporate or something. Is there
corporate?
I won't put you on the spot.
Gosh, you have put me on the spot. I'm trying to think. I love Dr. Ciara Kelly.
Yeah,
as well.
She's
very good. And actually, I did a list of Twitter. Irish Food Guide, Rob Cullen, he's starting off a food business with his wife, fitness and getting losing weight. There's a lot of good people that I follow. Look at my Amazing Irish People list, and you can see them there.
Fantastic. I think one of the main things, as we sort of wrap up the show here, one of the main things I think you've really enforced and made me think about is, what are you bringing to the party here? It's not about what you're trying to get out of it,
yes,
but it's about what you're bringing to the party.
Yes.
Okay, I suppose that's all we've time for today. A special thanks to my guest, Sam Kelly, for coming into the You and Your Business studio today. Many thanks to Pia, who is on sound. And don't forget that you can contact the show by emailing yourbusiness@dublincityfm.ie with your comments and suggestions. The podcast of today's show will be available on dublincityfm.ie from tomorrow. Thank you for your company, and please remember to join me, Alec Drew, again next week at the same time, 12:30, right here on 103.2 Dublin City FM, for another edition of You and Your Business.